Hey, what's up, guys? It's Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all my videos and subscribing to the channel, and I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, it's been a fucking rough week. Gugabe and I have tried to record. We got you guys have been kind of complaining about the audio, so we were trying to kind of address your concerns on that. And we got some new podcast software, and it fucked up last week, and it didn't mix each of our inputs well. And then it kind of happened again this week, and it was all fucked up, even though the volume was fixed. But then another issue came up, and we recorded 2 or 3 times last week. It was actually a hilarious podcast too, because Gugabe just ranted about how much Aspen Lad sucks. I don't think she sucks, but he really does. So he was kind of celebrating the GDR win. It was a funny podcast, to be honest. He was on fire. And then this week, it was a good podcast again, and we recorded a couple times, and the audio just fucked up. So we'll get it fixed. I know I've been saying this for a month. I swear we're trying, and we'll get it. It'll be there. But because that happened, I'm just gonna do kind of like last week, a quick little final thoughts, little preview on my own, where I go through each fight and kind of, I won't go super in depth, but I will on the fights that I'm kind of playing, and maybe on the ones that I'm staying away that kind of have a lot of, where there's kind of two-way action on both sides, like Frota and Robertson's one, where a lot of people seem to be on each person, and it's one I'm going to stay away from, so I'll kind of go over that. So yeah, but yeah, I haven't sent, this week sucks, but I haven't sent out a recap video for the last event. We hit Roberts, we hit Edwards over RDA, so that was cool, but we kind of got some unluckiness on decisions, even though I don't think I got robbed on a decision. It was just the fact that I happened to be on the wrong side of a few decisions. I was on the wrong side of Aldana, which I thought she won 2-1, but since Pennington had the clear third round, I understood why it went to Pennington. I was on Steven Peterson. I thought that was a coin flip, so it kind of sucked that I was on the wrong side of both of those. And then untracked, I played Trinaldo over Hernandez, and I kind of thought I thought Trinaldo won that fight. It was too uneventful to be for sure, but I thought Trinaldo won, and he was definitely the value side. Playing Hernandez minus 200 to 250 kind of seemed a little crazy to me, but that happens. But I did, so it was a little bit of a skid because of that event, and Edwards kind of made up for some of the losses, but ended up being a losing event. PFL was last night. We did sweep that card, so we kind of made up for it a little bit, but there's always going to be bumps in the road. I try not to complain about decisions anymore, because it's just part of the game. It becomes overkill at that point. I think it's fine to reflect on your picks whenever it comes to the decisions, but I try not to complain about the actual decision. I just kind of understand it at this point. It's part of the game. You're going to be on the good and bad side of some. It sucks when you're on the big underdog and they lose a close decision because you made a better pick than the other side, but you just got a little unlucky. But that's just kind of part of the game. So I kind of try to talk about it from a more reflective standpoint than complain about it, because whenever I was younger, I would kind of be impulsive and yell about the decisions, but now I just kind of roll with it, if that makes sense. So it just kind of is what it is. So enough with that rant. I'll just talk about UFC 240. It's actually Friday, so been a lot of line movement in the last couple hours, and I'll kind of just start at the bottom of the card. Bozer Lemos got canceled. I won't talk about that. Cook Stewart. I think this is stay away. I think Cook's a more skilled fighter. I think his subline, if you guys are into props, is good, because even though he doesn't have a lot of subs on his record, I think it's more so because he's fought a lot of skilled guys. He's been at those lighter weight classes, and sometimes it's hard to just get backs and rear naked choke some of those guys, but he's pretty good at getting the back, and he can get it consistently. And Stewart, I'm not just saying this because he got subbed by Rencounter from that position last fight, but even in his LFA fights, he gets his back taken a lot. So I think unless if a quick finish happens, I'm pretty confident Cook will get his back at some point. I really do. But I don't want to play Cook's money line because I just think I'm just a little worried if he gets put on his back because sometimes he just doesn't look good there. And I feel like Stewart can be a little heavy on top at times. And I just want to stay away from this fight. I don't feel too... I think Cook's going to win, but I feel a little wary about the fight, all in all. I do think that sub line is really good, though. It's like plus 5 to 600, and I think that's a good play, because I think that's Cook's most likely way to win, to be completely honest. And it might be a thing where he gets a sub just like at a high clip if they fought 100 times. Like, they fought 100 times, and he can consistently get that back. Stewart did not look like he knew how to fight top hands on rear naked chokes well against ring counters, so I could see that happening. Probably going to stay away from the fight. It might throw a little bit on that sub line, but nothing. I don't want significant action on that fight. Next fight, Frota Robertson. Man, I've gone back and forth on this fight. Originally, I was on Frota, then I started leaning Robertson, and then I started leaning Frota, and now I'm just like, fuck this, I don't really know. I've kind of gone back and forth. I see a lot of red flags betting both girls, to be completely honest. I think if these girls fight 100 times, I think both of them win a significant amount. Like I think it's just like a close split fight, in my opinion. The concern with Robertson, she doesn't throw strikes. Even against Macedo, I think she had like 3 strikes total in that fight. And Robertson's been she's been one of my like top 5 most profitable fighters I've bet, because it's really easy to know when her game's gonna work because she's a single leg and a back taker. That's all she does. It's literally her entire game. Single leg and a back taker. She doesn't throw strikes. She doesn't really have any other submissions in her arsenal. Like I've seen her kind of like I've seen her get like an armbar or something, but I feel like her primary objective, armbars are kind of random. I feel like her primary objective is to single leg you down, pass your guard, and find that back and just rear naked choke you. And a thing she does is all she shoots is single legs. And whenever you shoot a single leg, a lot of the time when you shoot a single leg, you shoot the single and you land in half guard, because a lot of the time when you shoot a single leg, when you get the single leg, you put the leg in between your legs, or you just kind of fall on top of them where their leg ends up being in between your legs and you fall into half guard. So that's why I think single legs are good takedowns if you want to be passing guard and looking for advances like she does, and that's what she likes to do. So yeah, that's her game. Frota is kind of just like a come forward heavy hitter. She's got a massive power and striking advantage here, but she's a little plodding, and I don't know if she'll just be able, like Robertson will kind of move well on the feet, kind of evade at times, and I could see her just kind of avoiding those shots and timing those single legs and getting her down. And the thing with the takedowns is, I've seen Frota, so the red flags with Robertson are she sucks on the feet and she doesn't throw strikes even when she takes you down. So even if she gets top in position, if she has trouble advancing a lot, she doesn't throw a lot of strikes, so it won't take much for some type of scramble for Frota to then throw punches and take the round. So that's kind of my concerns with Robertson, is she doesn't throw enough strikes to really put stamps on rounds. So she kind of like has to be passing a lot and get a submission. And for her to get a decision, I feel like she doesn't really hold top position all that well, because she's advancing so much that it opens up for people to and she's chasing submissions so much that it opens up scrambles for people. So that's why her decision path to me is kind of like, she could do it because Frota sometimes finds herself on her back a lot, but it concerns me because she doesn't throw enough strikes and she's always advancing, and it just endangers her to getting reversed. But then with Frota, so that's kind of like my concerns with Robertson. But then my concerns with Frota is she has not that bad of takedown defense. It's not particularly good, but it's serviceable. But sometimes when she stuffs the initial shot, and she did this against Souza, she'll jump a guillotine, or she'll kind of like tie up. And I always talk about a reason why I pick Calvin Kattar over Lamas is Lamas doesn't have a good first effort shot, but he's not bad once you kind of start engaging with him, and then he can kind of like out-chain you and out-scramble you. And the thing with Kattar is Kattar breaks away. He disengages. So like you don't really have second and third efforts on that. And the thing with Frota is she'll kind of hold the guillotine or tie up with you, and I feel like that's going to give unearned chaining opportunities to Robertson, where if she fails the first shot, it could just give her another chance to get takedowns. So that's what Frota's tendency to not break away is what seems to me to be the red flag from a defending takedown perspective. And then sometimes she's just a little too complacent off her back, and she can lose position. But even when she gets her back taken, she fought the top hand well against Souza. Like, Souza had her kind of in worst case scenario, and she doesn't give her back up all that much because she plays such a guard and doesn't roll over, and she doesn't really go for leg locks from what I've seen. So she doesn't really give up her back, which makes Robertson's I'm ranting right now, which makes Robertson's back-taking checkmate type of game a little hard. But then Frota does dumb shit, like she'll get back up and then jump a guillotine, and I don't know. It scares me. But I just don't know. I just don't know. Like, I'm going really back and forth. I think I'm leaning Frota again, to be honest, but I wouldn't be confident in that. Like, I'm just gonna stay away. I think Frota's gonna win. I'm gonna stay away though. God, what? She has the skills to win this fight easily because I think she can stop enough single legs and just not like. If she can retain back guard after the single legs land for Robertson, she's probably gonna win, and I think she probably can. Like, she has a pretty good guard. I'm passing. Fuck this fight. Pantoja Figueredo. I'm passing as well. I have concerns for Figueredo because sometimes, like, Pantoja will be a little busier at times, and in that fight with Figueredo and Formiga, Figueredo would just go stretches with inactivity. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are kind of writing off Figueredo too early from that performance, because I think Formiga evades really well, and he'll kind of move left to right a little bit, where Pantoja will kind of come forward and will walk you down a little bit, and I feel like that's when Figueredo against other fighters like Moraga and Morales really has success, because he likes to come forward, and I feel like if you come straight at him as well, that's when he can kind of get his bullying game going. But I also think Pantoja is a more skilled grappler, from a defensive standpoint, probably an offensive standpoint, although Figueredo's got kind of like athleticism in his offensive takedowns. But then I like Figueredo's kind of physicality and cardio later in the fights, where I think if he gets on top of Pantoja and starts dropping that ground and pound, I think he could have success too. I don't want to play this fight. Fuck this. I think that's also a pass. I do think Pantoja at dog odds earlier was probably a good play, but I don't know. Like, I think that's a coin flip too. So yeah, that Cook fight, that Robertson fight, that Pantoja fight, all those were just, I was going back and forth. Like, I'm pretty sure I picked each person at some point, and then I just decided to say fuck this, but let's get to a fight where I have action on. I'm on Choi. I got him at dog odds. I tipped it when he was a dog. He's now, I think, become the favorite. I think his length and his straight punches are going to cause major issues for Tucker. I've seen a lot of people say Tucker could out-grapple him. I don't think so. I looked into that heavy. I don't think Tucker can out-grapple him. So I think he's going to have to win a kickboxing match. And Tucker, he gasses, so that's a huge red flag. And when Glenn kind of had that reach on him, and Tucker kind of had trouble getting his little in and out game going like he did against Cecilia, and even against Cecilia, he only landed 50 strikes. I don't think he lands consistently enough. I would hit Choi really fucking heavy, and Choi is great cardio, and I would hit him way heavier if he was aggressive more. I think if he walks Tucker down, he's going to really dominate here. If I knew he was going to do that, I would hit him a lot heavier. Instead, I went like a moderate play on him. And because I've seen tendencies of where he'll be really aggressive and when he won't be. And sometimes he'll kind of sit back and have a low volume, tepid kickboxing match. And I think if he does that, it could be a close fight. But if he gets aggressive, and I've seen him be aggressive before too, then I think he's going to dominate. So I think because if he's unaggressive, I still think it's a coin toss. And if he is super aggressive, and that will also work into the game of gassing Tucker out, then Choi will really dominate. So I think like in one scenario of him being aggressive, we have like a big advantage being on Choi's side. Or if he isn't aggressive, I still think it's close where I would favor Choi. So I think he's the right play. Dawadu Horley, I need to actually watch a little more tape on that, so I'm not going to talk about that. Davis Arajo, here's my other play of the night. I hit Davis at plus 220, and I think she's going to win. I favor her to win this matchup. And a lot of people write off Davis. I think it's because she isn't super athletic, and she doesn't wear damage well. And her not wearing damage well is honestly one of the only really main concerns I have. Sorry about that. Is only really one of the major concerns that I have. But Arajo, Bernardo's not very good, and Arajo's like little game where she's kind of dancing around and she's kind of ballet striking in a way, like it looks super pretty and she's quick and has good straight punches, but Talita Bernardo's not a good striker and she doesn't pressure. And I'm not convinced, like, I played Arajo in that fight as a dog. Like, I thought her regional tape warranted that she would dominate on the feet against Bernardo, but against Davis, the one fight she's ever been pressured was against Frota, and she got put away very quickly, and you could tell she did not like the pressure, and she has to plant and be going forward to really get the kind of kinetic energy and the power onto her shots. But if she's getting pushed back a lot, which Davis is a fucking zombie, and she's going to come forward and she can do it hard for 15 minutes, I think Davis is going to take over and gas her out. And you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I think Davis is inside the distance line at plus 950. Or you're going to think I'm crazier here. Even her TKO line at like plus 1700. I think those are amazing prop bets. I'm not saying they hit all the time, but I think they hold tremendous value because the one time we've seen Arajo go against a pressure striker, it was only a year and a half ago too, and she hasn't had like too many fights since. So I don't think she's probably made the improvements against a pressure striker that you would need in a year and a half to be able to comfortably beat Davis. I think she might just kind of get tired and kind of just give up. I think there's a really good chance that happens. Davis has a tendency to go for the rear naked choke. And she doesn't have much TKOs. Funny, her only TKO wins against Amanda Nunes, which is hilarious. Davis. So most of her wins come by submission, but I think if you gas the fighter out too much, the TKO can kind of be given to you, and it doesn't mean you don't have to be like a heavy hitter or anything to get a finish on someone who's tired. Or a TKO, but I think Davis might finish her, and I definitely think the value's on her. The lines, people I think are seeing the same thing I have, and Davis's line has gotten hit. She's still plus 170, and I think there's value in that. And I think she gets the upset. I really do. Joko Barrialt, Joko Barrios, I'm passing here. I did a video preview on Joko against Amandowski. You guys can go watch that. And I talked about how Joko's a really high-level grappler, especially from top position. He's got good takedowns, too. He's got multi-directional single legs, a lot of good things. And he's good at striking from distance, although I do feel like he's maybe a little bit of a front runner. And I think Barrihilt's more of like, can kind of be the hammer and the nail in a way, where I feel like Joko is really only the hammer. I know that sounds cliche, but I feel like Joko, when he kind of gets put into like a fight, he might give up a little bit. But I think he's better at distance here, and I do think he's the all-around better grappler. But the problem that I see here is Joko's grappling really thrives when he can get to you flat on your back. And I think he might, and he was able to on Amandowski. When you take Amandowski down, Amandowski would go straight down, and I predicted, and I was like 90% sure that Joko is going to dominate the grappling there. You can't always know, but I was pretty sure, and you could probably tell by the confidence when shooting that video. But on this one, Barrios will give up his back, and Joko will put hooks in, so that's kind of a red flag a little bit for Barrios. But Barrios he has a hard base to break. He's constantly working to his feet, and I don't know if Joko has the mat returning type of grappling game or wrestling breakdown games to consistently get Barrios down. So I think Barrios might be able to get back up and kind of have success in the inside. I think at distance, Joko's a better striker, but I think when they're in the clinch, I think Barrios can have some success with elbows, and it's in his hometown. And I could see him just kind of making this a little bit of a dogfight and kind of keep it close, which makes it a little scary with those home country judges, or just maybe finish Joko with some punches. So, gun to my head, I think Joko wins, but this is an easy pass for me. If Barrios was easier to get flat on his back, I think Joko can cruise in a top like that because he's good A to B takedowns where he can get a takedown, get it. But whenever you're flat on your back, that's where he kind of dominates. Where I don't know if Barrios will get flat on his back until he tires out. And that's what I saw on Barrios' regional tape, is he's really hard to flatten out until you get him flat on his back late. So that's where I could see a little bit of struggle for Joko. But at the same time, Barrios hasn't gone against a grappler as good as Joko, and I wouldn't be all that surprised if Joko just dominated him either. So I'm just going to stay away. Jeff, Neal, and Price. I think Neal should win, but Price is meme magic, so let's fucking stay away from this. Let's just not touch this fucking fight. Never mind, I won't get into it. Sarukian and OAM. I want to take this fight more. I think I have a very good read on this fight, but I don't want to talk about it now because I'm not done. And I actually want to watch a couple more fights. So I'm not going to talk about this one. I'll probably have a play on it though. But I'll tweet it out or something. Or you guys can DM me and get my thoughts on that on Twitter. Spencer, Cyborg. I think Cyborg's fine to throw in parlays. If you guys are into parlays, I don't think Spencer's going to win this fight. I think she's going to get obliterated. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Edgar, Holloway. I hate to have the cop-out answer. I think Holloway's going to win, but I think the value's on Edgar. I think I'm going to overall stay on this fight. I might look into playing some overs, but I don't really know. The flags I see for Edgar is I don't like... obviously, I think Holloway with the reach, and even though the reach advantage isn't big or anything, I just feel like the long striking of Holloway could give Edgar issues in the aggressiveness, but Holloway hasn't gone against a good wrestler, really, like, ever. So I could see Edgar kind of getting some takedowns and cruising a little bit on top position, but I looked into Holloway's takedown defense a lot for the Poirier fight, and I liked what I saw for the most part when I went into it. And winning a 5-round fight with wrestling is tough nowadays because the sport's evolved. And unless if you're like a Khabib or Gillespie, it's tough to really kind of dominate with wrestling for 5 rounds. Although Edgar's got cardio and he's got good wrestling, I tend to think Max will be able to... I could see Edgar winning a round or 2 with it, but an entire fight, I don't know. But at the same time, I feel like Holloway wins a lot of fights by just having the better gas tank. Like, sometimes I don't even know how much more skilled he is than guys, and I know the MMA media loves him, like guys like Luke Thomas. I don't think... all right, I won't talk about that. But anyway, Holloway, I feel like a lot of it's just because he takes a lot of punches, and I feel like he just outpaces people, and Edgar's got a tank. So Edgar could give him issues there too. But I see the threats coming Frankie's way as well. But I think it's a dog or pass fight. I don't. If I have action, it won't be a lot on Edgar. I'll honestly probably stay away. I'll maybe look into some overs. But yeah, like right now, all I really have is I think Choi's a good bet. Even now, like right now, you can still get him at even money, and I think even that holds value. I think he should be favored here. I really think Davis as a dog is going to cash. And if it doesn't cash, man, don't play a Rojo in that, like, guys, you've been seeing all these favorites lose lately, and this one, I just think this line's off. I really do. Rojo could knock her dead, but if you're relying on a women's TKO win, those don't always come. Like, you're kind of... It's hopeful thinking. Like, I know she knocked out Bernardo, but I think her power is going to be going quickly because Davis is going to be pressuring her so much. So if Davis doesn't get knocked out in the first couple minutes, I think Araujo's going to gas. I'll tell you this: if you're on Araujo, maybe you've seen something different than me. Just don't bet her unless if you've seen the Frota fight first. Like, watch the Frota fight before you bet Araujo. I'm just saying that. But that's really all I got for now. I'm going to have some props, and I'll probably have a couple other plays. But mostly, I'm kind of just on Choi and Davis for now. And I'll have a few props, and I'm gonna have a play on the OAM Sarukian fight. I'm pretty sure I will. So, kind of like waiting though. But and I'm gonna keep taping. But that's all I have. Comment below if you have any questions. But thank you so much for listening. Bye.